Douglas. Jamie, why did you lose the popular vote? Why did you lose every single swing state? Why did you lose? Get off me. Look at this. Look at this. They're assaulting me, you motherfucker. Why'd you lose?
Democrats like to talk about due process. You know, what process are you due in this constitutional republic? Well, Jack Posobiec was at a rally with Jamie Raskin and federal workers when he asked two questions. Why did you lose the popular vote? And why did you lose every single swing state? That's it. Jack's not a violent guy. He doesn't go to violent riots or protests. He doesn't attack people. He shouted out two questions to a politician standing in public. And what happened? He was attacked by these federal workers union guys. Jamie Raskin specifically pointing him out and yelling at him on the bullhorn. And then a bunch of guys started cussing at him and attacking him. And we've got the video. Jack has shown this image of just before getting attacked with these angry guys. Federal workers matters, they say. And Jamie Raskin pointing him out while shouting. Ultimately, Jack did get attacked. Check out the video. It's about a minute long.
Organize unions.
Yeah!
For redress agreements, we're going to defend the right to assemble.
Yeah!
Defend the right to assemble.
We know with Dr. King that the greatness of America is the right to protest for what is right.
Yeah!
Against lawbreakers who take office. And that's where we are today. I'll leave you with my friends with the words of the great Marylander Frederick Douglass. Jamie, why did you lose the popular vote? Why did you lose every single swing state? Why did you lose? Get off me. Why did let me talk?
That's crazy.
It's not fake. Look at this.
And they just start attacking him.
Look at this. Look at this. They're assaulting me, you motherfucker. Why'd you lose?
Look at that. They're actually attacking Jack Posobiec. Kicked his phone, it looks like. You heard he said, can I get my phone? No. Yo, this is wild. They shouldn't be allowed to do this. I don't know how Jack ended up recovering his phone in the videos, but he does show. He yells a question. Jamie Raskin points him out, and then a bunch of guys surround him, start hitting him and cussing at him, smack his phone out of his hand, kick it. He says, can I get it back? They say no. Okay. We all know that they're hypocrites, and we all get it. I got to tell you, when they come out and they claim, oh, due process and all that stuff, no. When they talk about peaceful protests and the right to assemble, they don't mean it. They never did. Okay? There was a protest in Milwaukee a while ago. Let me see if I can actually find this, right? I think it was Milwaukee. Man arrested. BLM. Let's see if I can find the story. He had a shotgun, and he was accused of pointing it at a group. The story's there, but there we go. Look at this. Look at this story. All right, let's break this one down. This is from 2020. Trump supporter who pointed shotgun at BLM protest outside his home arrested. Sure, but what's the context of that headline? A bunch of people showed up in front of a guy's house, unwarranted. The same group had been associated with burning down another house. The man brandished a shotgun in his house, window closed. The police came and arrested him. Now, by all means, I don't think it's wise to do that, to point a shotgun at people that are protesting in front of your house. They shouldn't be protesting in front of your house. I can understand why this man was concerned. As I mentioned, this group had been associated with setting fire to another house they had been protesting in front of. The dude was probably scared. The point is, however, when this guy got arrested by the police, when BLM had been calling for abolishing the police that year, they clapped and they cheered for his arrest. Happy the police were arresting him because they don't care about defunding the police. What they care about is power. Now, Jack Posobiec says, I have filed a full police report with federal law enforcement. And I hope that we actually get some accountability. Jacob Soboroff tweeted, spent yesterday afternoon in D.C. at a rally of union workers standing in solidarity with fired federal workers on the 100th day of President Trump's second term. Jack says, Jacob, you were standing next to me when the assault happened. Are you going to even mention it to your audience? Nope. He's not. This is not what they do. They're just going to cover it up and gaslight people.
Station where people who still had their jobs but were standing in solidarity with fired workers. I'm told you have found a worker who was indeed fired.
Yeah, Alicia, this is one of the people that the folks here are.
Blah,
This
blah,
is the
blah.
entire country job you dedicate ever go very much meant.
2 steps into the
Very much.
No matter the circumstances.
No mention. No mention at all. So we have this article from Racket News written by Matt Taibbi the other day. Are we in a soft civil war? Now, of course, there are a lot of people that always roll their eyes and they genuinely believe we are not in some kind of conflict, whatever you want to call it. Matt Taibbi brings up that 200 former diplomats and security officials signed a group letter called The Assault on American Democracy, a call to action in which they say, waiting passively for the electoral calendar to fight back does nothing more than give the administration additional time and running room to impose its authoritarian stamp. It says that each of us in different walks of life must speak out, mobilize, and defend our way of life. What do you think that means? When Jack Posobiec, you saw the video. What did Jack do? He yelled a question to a politician standing in public. 2 questions. Why'd you lose? Why'd you lose the swing states? That's it. That's it. He didn't attack anybody. He didn't rush anybody. He didn't do anything. What did they do? They physically attacked him. Illinois governor calls for mass protests against Trump admin. GOP cannot know a moment of peace. Okay. There have been 50 incidents, at least 50 documented incidents of politically motivated violence in the United States attributed to left-leaning affiliations. You have the Tesla dealership attacks, the 5051 protests, stupidest name, 50501. While many of those are peaceful, they say, there has been a spate of arrests, injuries, and violence at these protests. You had the swatting incidents, and you've had several protests, such as in Salt Lake City, escalate into violence. The left is doing it. It's always the left. In order to justify the lies in the press about a violent right-wing threat, they have to combine disparate ideologies into a right wing. And then you start to realize what exactly they're doing. Anyone outside of their cult is right wing. And I mentioned it before, but it bears repeating. A neo-Nazi and a laissez-faire capitalist libertarian have absolutely no politics in common. Now, to be fair, maybe they want clean water or something. Humans need water, right? But for the most part, these are opposing ideologies. Freedom and authoritarianism, ethno-nationalism and open borders. Sure. What does the left do? They say both of those groups are right-wing. Why? Because they're not left-wing. That means the left literally just is low IQ cultists that march in lockstep, that represent largely nothing but the hive cult, the collective. Because it makes no sense to say that a moderate conservative populist and a libertarian party member are the same thing. That the libertarian booed Trump like heavily when he went to their rally. He did still win favor with them, but that's largely due to the fact the Libertarian Party nominated a gay race communist. And I'm not saying it to be disparaging. Literally, the man is a gay man, and he believes in racist communist policies for the Libertarian Party. So a lot of people in the Libertarian Party did end up voting for Donald Trump, not because they overlap on every issue, but because they wanted to win some small concessions, such as the pardoning of Ross Ulbricht. Trump said, I promised I'd do it, and so I did. The left is going to be violent. At the administrative level, they are launching lawfare, 220 plus lawsuits in 100 days, more injunctions, universal injunctions than any other administration has ever seen. Almost half of all unconstitutional universal injunctions. And at the street level, they will physically attack you if you try and speak up and ask even a simple question. Jamie Raskin, why'd you lose? What did you do wrong? Now, what if it was, what if a Democrat yelled, why did we lose? What would they have done? That's interesting, right? But he said, why did you lose? And so they said, you're an other. And they physically attacked Jack Posobiec. I think I think it's going to get worse. I don't see a path for an off-ramp, but I don't know that we get a summer of love in much the same way. Maybe we do. As I mentioned, we've already got over 50 documented cases of leftist violence this year alone. There have been a handful of deaths attributed to political issues, but not overt factional in the street political issues. Meaning there's like, a few stories since the election where like the woman got into a fight with her dad over the light switch and the election got her all crazy and she killed her dad. There are things like that. But the concern I have is when far leftists go out in the street and kill somebody. And we've not seen something like that. We have seen an Islamic extremist in New Orleans attack and kill 14 people, which is terrifying. But we have also seen attempted murder to an extreme degree. And that is the majority of these attacks. Firebombing Tesla stations, shooting up Tesla vehicles, and then, of course, the swattings. So when these guys, when Pritzker comes out and says, don't let them know a moment of peace and mass mobilize, of course he's not literally saying be violent. But we all know what happens when you give them nudge, nudge, wink, wink, go out and mass protest, they get violent. You can't even have a rally. Look at this. The workers' union, this is just a rally. And even they got violent. So what do you think's going to happen when he calls for mass mobilization? They know what they are doing when they say get in your face. I hope we don't get the Summer of Love 2.0. But there are many that think that it's on its way. I'll wrap it up there. Follow me on X and Instagram. Stay tuned. We got more videos coming up for you throughout the day, and we'll see you all in the next segment.